Hello everyone, I'm Maddox Brown with New England MMA News, and I am here with Slippery Pete, Peter Barrett. How you doing?
What's up, Maddox, man? I'm doing good. I'm trying to multitask a little bit. I have my dogs and my son. We're going for a quick little walk while we do the interview. I hope that's all right with you. But
Sorry.
it's just, it's a good Sunday to be chilling around the house and trying to have a lazy day.
First, we're gonna get into your most recent fight. At your most recent fight at Cage Titan 64, you defeated Tom Santos. Can you walk us through how the fight went for you and how you finished the fight?
Yeah, I mean, we were preparing for him to come out like pretty hot and heavy in the first round. Um, you know, he is a journeyman, but he's got some pretty notable wins under his belt. And the last UFC vet that he had fought, which was like only like 2 or 3 years ago, he knocked out in the first minute of the first round. So, um, just doing my research, we were ready to see him come out kind of crazy, kind of hectic, trying to overwhelm me. So I was just planning to maintain my range, stay back, pick my shots, and look for the opportunities as they presented themselves. And that's pretty much what happened. Like I wasn't even looking for a choke, and we ended up in a scramble with his head underneath me, and it just, I would have had to have really gone out of my way not to snatch that neck up at that point.
How did the training camp go for this fight? Were there any injuries or setbacks?
So I'm trying to remember. Nobody gets through a fight camp 100%. I was explaining this to my fiance, and she's like, "I just don't get it. You guys trying so hard and like, hurt each other, hurt yourself before you get ready to fight, and then you're supposed to go like have the toughest fight of your life, and you're not 100%." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's everybody. That happens every camp. There's always something. So I think I was dealing with nothing too crazy. My lower back's an issue. My QLs get real tight, so I just have to be disciplined about schedule and time, massage that my physical feeling on top of the way. Yeah.
Were there any specific areas that you focus on during that training camp?
For so long, I feel like you get a pretty in all areas, in all aspects of fighting, and we just kind of float towards the ones that we think are going to be more important or more relevant for that camp. So we had seen him get choked before at Cage Titans the last time he fought. So I had questions about how solid his ground game was. But I mean, you can't write off a Brazilian and just assume that he knows Brazilian jiu-jitsu because it seems to be like their national sport. But um, we just really just trained for everything, maintain range. I wanted to stay humble, treat him as if he was one of the most dangerous guys I've ever fought, not be lazy, not going to get in there with my hands down, and give him an opportunity to cap. So it was really just about covering all the bases and making sure we had spent enough area in all aspects to be ready for that fight.
Did he surprise you with anything, or did he do everything you guys expected him to do?
Um, I mean, I wasn't expecting him to taunt me before I ended up getting the win, before I ended up getting his neck. But he was pretty happy with his kicks. We had a nice, fun little exchange in the cage at that point. But no, nothing too crazy.
How do you feel like how would you evaluate your overall performance in that fight?
Well, his victory, and it felt great to get in and out without really taking any damage.
Now we're gonna get into your next fight. You're fighting Joe Giannetti at Cage Titan 66 on July 20th for the lightweight title. What are your thoughts on this fight, and how do you see it going for you?
Man, this has been a really exciting, fun fight to get ready for. I think the fans are finally ready for it. Um, it's just there's been a lot of like back and forth. There's been a lot of bad blood. There's been a lot of shit talk, and it really just came from him being a crying little baby and whining and kicking and screaming until he got what he thought was his way. I've done a pretty good job just leaving him out of sight, out of mind. But we're gonna try to you know, burn the scene down on my way out. I'm 38 years old. I'm not in it for too much longer. I've got a couple more years of competitively fighting with the best in the world, and I just think it's time to put my foot down and let everybody know who's the boss in New England.
What weaknesses do you see in Giannetti's game, and how do you plan to exploit them?
His ego is his biggest downfall. Um, I think he's an insecure little boy who is just kicking and screaming to show everybody that he's a man. And it's usually the loudest one in the room who's the most insecure. So, um, there's a level of like being a showman and talking shit, and then there's just being a scumbag and you know making comments about all the wrong things and posting stuff up on your story about people's personal lives that just kind of shows the world who you really are. Um, he's I just think his ego is his downfall, and it's gonna allow me to wrap out my arms around his little neck and choke him out.
How are you preparing mentally for the fight? Like trash talk, just like, what he's been saying about you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we were supposed to fight back like 7 years ago, and my one of my younger brothers passed away, so the fight didn't happen. And it's now that we have the opportunity to do it. I don't know why I lost train of thought. I think I brought up my brother, and his anniversary was yesterday, and I think my mind just shot. What was the question again?
Um, how are you going to prepare mentally for the fight considering what he said in the trash talk?
Oh yeah, so the trash talk is awesome. So no, this is let me connect it up. The first time we were supposed to fight, he was all up in arms about everything. I was like, I would wake up in the morning, I have to log on to Facebook, Instagram, and just kind of see what the hell was going on. And I think I was a little bit more prepared this time around. I had some things up my sleeve waiting for it, and from what I understand, he hasn't really been taking too many shots. But it's really just been a fun fight camp, um, uh, which beyond, you know, I had my suspicions, but it turns out a lot of people don't like this kid. I've had innumerable strangers come up to me and say, "Hey, man, I go to the fights in Plymouth, and I know you're fighting in July, and I really hope you hurt this guy." And like these are strangers that I've never said hello to before, like just kind of coming up to me out of the blue and being like, that kid does not know how to shut up. Please, please do everybody a favor. And it's just like I've been like I called Mike Polvera, the owner of Cage Titans, and I was like, listen, I know I didn't like him. I didn't know this many people didn't like him. Like I've been having strangers come up to me a couple times a week, and like up at Whole Foods, at work, at the gym, you know, running errands. Like, man, oh, you're fighting Joe Giannetti. I really hope that you fucking put a beating on him. Da 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 da. So it's been a lot of fun. I feel like karma's kind of put me in his path, and now it's my turn to pay him back for being a shithead to everybody his whole life.
What do you, how have your past fights helped you prepare for this fight?
Oh, dude, there's a saying, there's an old ancient proverb: no man will ever step in the same river twice, because it'll never be the same man, it'll never be the same river. Every fight has gone, and you or lose it. That's the way it's been for me. You just have these realizations, and it just really helps you see things a little bit clearer every time you get to do it, and you get to refine the process and get better every time, and keep what you like, get rid of what doesn't work. So ideally, every time you fight, your fight camp should be getting better. Everything should be getting smoother, and just progress as an athlete and a human being. So you know, I'd have to say every single fight I've had has helped get me ready for this one as well.
Who are going to be some of your key training partners or have been some of your key training partners in this training camp?
So, my coach and good friend Joe Lozon, he's been paramount in this fight camp. We've been getting 3 or 4 sessions together a week, getting ready for this. Really good rounds. Um, Jay Perrin, he's with me down at Lozon's now. teammates up at Sityodtong previous as well. He's been holding pads for me. All the guys in my class. I mean, we're going to be focus on, and if I need to focus on, you're at it too. So it it's just been I just have a really good community around me that allows me manipulate what we do to prepare for these types of things.
What do you anticipate will be the biggest challenge you will face in this fight?
Um, his jujitsu, he's got home run jujitsu, home run submissions. From what I understand, he's not an incredible grappler, so to say, but he does, his submission game is strong. So just being prepared for that, getting ready to fight hands, getting ready to fight feet, getting ready to pummel, can't be stagnant, have to be proactive, have to keep moving. Um, it's just, I would be a fool to not recognize his jujitsu. So, that's probably my primary concern.
So we're gonna get into some of the final questions. What inspired you to pursue your career in MMA?
You know, it was so I graduated high school in 2005, which probably blows your mind because you told me you're getting your wisdom teeth out. And I got my wisdom teeth out when I was like a sophomore in high school. So I had my wisdom teeth out probably before you were born, right? That's wild. But um it it's that was like the Ultimate Fighter 2, Ultimate Fighter 3 back then. It was like something new and exciting. And I loved wrestling and my biggest thing when I was finishing high school wrestling was like, I really want to continue this, but um, the college wrestling scene was decimated with Title IX back then, so it wasn't really a good opportunity to go do that at the next level if I wasn't going to try to pursue some sort of academic scholarship to go with it. Um, so it kind of went to the back burner. Played rugby in college. Started training jujitsu. Did a couple jujitsu tournaments. Really fell in love with that, and then ended up taking my first amateur MMA fight, and I lost. And I was like, Coach, get me another fight tonight. I can beat somebody. I can beat somebody again. I'm like, I need like two more fights tonight. And he's like, dude, it's not like that. We need another 6 weeks. Like this is, it doesn't happen like that anymore. But it was like, it lit this fire inside of me right away where I was like, I knew right then and there that this is something I could spend the rest of my life doing and never get sick and tired of it. And it's just about refining the process, becoming a healthier, more complete human being, and taking what you learn about fighting and applying it to other places. Like, it's easy to be really good at one thing and suck at everything else and let that be your excuse because you're really good at that one thing. Or you can let that one thing that you excel at carry you through and be better at everything else in your life. And that's kind of where I'm trying to take it right now and have been, you know, you know, more recently than not. But I mean, there was that period where I was like all in on Tim Grover's relentless mindset, where it's like, I'm going to be the best fighter I can be. I might be a shitty friend. I might be a shitty boyfriend. I might be a shitty son. I might be a shitty brother. But like, this is why, and this is my excuse. And now I've seen that I could just use that experience to elevate all the other areas of my life. And like with being a dad and it's being a fiance and being a family man. And it's allowing positive things from all of that to play into the rest of your life.
Can you describe what you're thinking when you step into the cage?
Yeah, dude, let's fucking go, bro. Like, I go in there, big smiles, ready to have some fun. I know I'm gonna get hit. I know I'm gonna hit him, and we just like it's so free, It's like really like the freest moment that I could possibly describe to you, outside of maybe like skydiving. At that point, there's like you've just released and let go to the world, and then like I hope this parachute opens. But with fighting, it's just like you're the freedom to do and be and dig down and find out what you're made of that you don't get in any other circumstance. Like even in the business world, you could be trading millions of dollars, but there's no lock on the door. There's no other man in that room that's going to prevent you from getting out of that room. You know what I mean? Like it is very primal and it awakens something inside of you that just, some people have it and some people don't. And fortunately enough for me, I'm one of the six fucks that have it and loves it.
Can you share like what you think is the most memorable moment of your career so far?
Sure. My most memorable moment, well, I'll give you two because one's like, oh, that's nice. And the other one's like, dude, come on. But after my Chase Hooper fight, I was so bummed. I was so mad at myself. My coaches, my brother, like that was during COVID. So my brother Max, who used to fight, he's a 4-1 pro. He came out to corner me because all the Lozons, all those guys got COVID. Joe couldn't come out. We thought I was going to pop for COVID while I was in Vegas. So we had Max out there. So it was Crew Mark, Andy, and my brother Max. I lose to Chase Hooper in the third fucking round. And they're like, no, Peter, you got to watch the fight over and see how good you did. Like, you did everything right. And I'm like, yeah, until I didn't. But whatever. So I'm watching the fight and I hear Daniel Cormier go, you know what that is? That's like pitching a no hitter. And the last guy at bat hits a fucking walk-off home run. And I'm like, fuck you, DC. What the fuck? So that comment, that was one of the most memorable times because I was like, I can't believe this motherfucker just said that about me. But then on a more positive note, I would say beating Sang Hoon Yu from South Korea on the Contender Series to get into the UFC. That was a wild experience. That dude was a fucking monster. Like that was a tough fight, and it felt good to get recognized for it, even though it was an ugly fight. And I kind of had to wrestle fuck him to stay on top, but that was another incredible moment to get through.
Do you have any special shout outs to sponsors and supporters before I let you go?
Oh, for sure. So first and foremost, um, Kind Farms. They're a big dispensary up in Maine. Uh, um, I've grown into a pretty good relationship with those guys. They always help me out. It's a lot easier to spend money on supplements. Big help. And then Power Aquatics is a swimming school that my son goes to. Come to find out, the owner trains lows on him, and we're on our third session with them, and he was more than happy to help contribute to the fight camp. So big shout out to Power Aquatics if you guys are in the South Shore, Massachusetts area. I mean, they have 3 locations, like 3,000 students. Like it's one of the best programs out here. Always my family company house. Um, we're restaurant people. My family always helps out with the fight camps as much as they can as well. So we can go there. We'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, definitely. Oh, and then my man Matty C from Matty C Sports. He helps me out with a lot of my social media graphics and stuff to help recognize my sponsors as I put them up.
All right. Thank you for coming on.